What's up, you guys? Stoutmeister here, and today we have our lovely guest once again with us, the themrrandomxbox.
Lovely? I'm gonna kill you, dude.
You are a very, very lovely guest. Alright, all seriousness though, I ran into something on YouTube that just completely pissed me off in some areas, and in some areas made me laugh, because this reminds me so much of Tipper Gore and how the church promoted rock and metal music back through the 60s to 90s, pretty much.
Satan!
The Illuminati, mind control, New World Order, because everything that is not Christian is part of the Illuminati, part of the secret society, destined to corrupt our youth.
This battery, not mentioned in the Bible, it must be satanic.
This rock star right here, this wasn't in the Bible. There's poison in here to dumb you down and mind control you.
I'm drinking root beer. Where was root beer mentioned in the Bible? I'm polluting myself with satanic imagery, which is going to seep into my head.
Oh, my camera's sitting on top of a Bible right now, and I'm not even kidding. I'll show you.
What was that dude's name? Alex Jones? It's like he's convinced that like everything is like some sort of 9/11 conspiracy, Illuminati.
Yeah, although there's some things that he talks about are true, like the Obama signing the NDAA, which talks about indefinite detention, detaining anybody suspected of being a terrorist. That part is true, but as far as like Y2K, do you remember Y2K?
I was only 5 when that was, but yeah, I know about it.
Like the whole missiles launching and all the technological issues and shit happening.
Reminds me of that episode of Family Guy.
Yeah, and June 6th, 2006 was going to be the end of the world. December 21st, 2012.
Despite the fact that the Mayan calendar didn't take into account leap years, so it's actually, according to the Mayan calendar, it's some like time in halfway through 2013 now.
Something along those lines. I forget. I think it was a Caesar in Rome that invented the leap years. I'm not exactly sure. I'll be sure to quote.
I could be wrong, but didn't he invent that in some point like 40 BC, 40 AD? I don't remember.
I'll have to look it up, and I'll post it as a caption if I find it. I'm going to be quoting some things throughout this video that this person, April and Wayne Show, points out, and they also disable the ratings on all their videos.
That's a good sign.
That is a very good sign. Okay, let's go on and play the video.
April and Wayne Show.
Metal destroys the lives of many youth and leads millions of souls to hell.
Granted, some people have had their lives ruined because of music. Like there was that one Norwegian black metal band that their singer tortured a dude and burned down a church or something like that. But
there are quite a few bands in Norway that do that. Varg killed a band member and he was sentenced to prison.
But that's the extreme minority.
Extreme minority.
And actually, this reminds me of a video Ranting Ramsey did in response to this kid looks like he's no more than 8 years old, talking about how metal is satanic.
Metal has caused many youth to turn to drugs, become rebellious, and become sexually promiscuous, including bisexuality, because the Native Americans haven't done marijuana during the tribal days, and opium hasn't been experimented before.
Oh yeah, and it's not like cocaine used to be legal in the U.S. or anything. No.
Cocaine was in Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola's name comes from the coca plant and the cola nut. Learned that in 8th grade.
I learned that around the same time, too.
Also, it's yes, it has caused people to do it, but it may have influenced it, because, yes, there are some bands that talk about, drugs and sex, Nickelback, but you're failing to take into account that some people really just are plain stupid. Why is that so hard for people to believe? Why is it that everyone blames stuff on, like, oh no, it's the music or it's television? Some people are just plain stupid.
And if you're the kind of person that takes in everything that a musician says or a personality on TV says, then yeah. But that's not the main cause. For the most part, it's all about individual choice.
It's your gullibility that does this.
Your gullibility, not the fact that there are supposed secret messages in these TV shows and in the music. I'm a metalhead myself, and I've never burned down a church. I've never killed anybody.
Kind of surprised about that, Stout, because, metal is the music of the devil. I mean...
Oh, I know, right? I turned out to be just fine. Maybe I'm listening to false metal. I'm not really sure.
I've been listening to metal since 8th grade, and I have yet to walk up and stab somebody in the name of Satan. I have yet to do that.
Maybe it's a slow process that the Illuminati has. Metal promotes self-destruction, including suicide. Rock music gets millions of youth to experiment with drugs.
I doubt the accuracy of these numbers.
Not every single band advocates drugs, especially nowadays. I mean, you had a lot of bands back in the 60s to 80s talk about doing marijuana and doing LSD and cocaine. I haven't heard of any metal band promoting drugs within the last decade.
And on that note, you say that it's really the way he words this, it makes it sound like he's just throwing all rock and metal into one giant group, which really is stupid. But it's like if you say rock metal promotes self-destruction, suicide, and gets people to experiment with drugs. You ever heard Master of Puppets by Metallica? That song is very clearly anti-drug.
Oh yeah. And Fade to Black is about suicide, and it's talking about it from a third-person perspective. And that's what good writers do. They write from another person's perspective and draw your imagination and makes you imagine as if you're going through that. Or if it reaches out to you, if you can relate to it, that's when you know you got a good lyricist. That's when you know you got a good writer. It's meant to help people.
And even some bands that I don't like to say I hate any bands, but even some bands that I severely dislike, like Nickelback, even they have made songs that are like anti-suicide and anti-drug use. You've got Lullaby, which seems to me like anti-suicide song, and you've got Just to Get High, which is like he's talking about a friend of his that basically threw his life away with, I'm guessing, some sort of inhaled drug like meth. And no, I do not advocate listening to Nickelback. If you're going to listen to rock, listen to something good.
The core of metal is sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
I really think he only listened to Nickelback when he made this video.
They mainly get deathcore bands in this video he's doing.
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. I haven't heard that be like, quote, metal's slogan since I saw pictures of like the 1970s.
I haven't heard sex, drugs, and rock and roll since the glam days, since Motley Crue, since Poison.
I was about to say Motley Crue. Who else? I don't really know if Styx wasn't glam metal, I don't think.
No, they weren't.
I don't know, maybe Kiss. Kiss, they're not really glam metal, but I think...
They're not really glam, but they're shock.
Them and Alice Cooper were pretty much the original shock rock acts.
Oh, and speaking of which, they were considered satanic, and Kiss's acronym was Knights in Satan's Service. AC/DC's was Antichrist Death Come.
Which is stupid.
AC/DC gets their name from a battery. Alternate current, direct current, something along those lines.
That's what it stands for. It's like Kiss, it's like, why would you think that it stood for, like, Knights in Satan's Service? One of the band members used to be in a band called Lips, and I think that was where they got the idea for the name Kiss. It was just like sort of a reference to that previous band.
Metal artists have sold their souls to the devil, and Satan uses metal bands to lead millions of souls to hell.
What?
Oh, if you listen to heavy metal, you're going to hell. I'm apparently going to hell because I've listened to metal ever since I was a little kid. I can't even remember when I started. I grew up around rock and roll.
Are you going to tell me, now, I don't like Skillet, but Skillet is like Christian metal? Are you telling me they're going to hell? Is that...
Are you telling me Demon Hunter becoming the archetype, Zao, Norma Jean, POD? Are you telling me all those bands are going to hell?
Chevelle, they're Catholics.
Yeah, they're not a Christian band, but the members are. Hell, Killswitch Engage, they're members, they're Christian members, and they don't really promote Christianity in their lyrics so much, but they're more positive.
Metallica, some members of that band are Christian, aren't they?
James Hetfield.
I thought he was like a sort of a light theist, like a theist, but not necessarily like an affiliate. Like he's like a non-denominational Christian, I think is what he described himself as, or something like that.
I think he is now, but like in his early years, like he grew up in a Christian Science family, but he denounced God for a long time because his family... Christian Science is basically belief that only God can heal you, so you can't use medicine, and basically James Hetfield was misled by that.
Dave Mustaine, he grew up in, I think it was a Jehovah's Witness, or was it Jehovah's Witness family, and he turned away from that because he thought the idea of going to people's houses on their days off and bothering them, he didn't like it. And after so many years, he decided to go back to church. I don't think he's Jehovah's Witness, though.
No, he's not a Jehovah's Witness. He's a Christian, though.
So are you telling me that they're all going to hell? Alice Cooper, you may not be able to guess it, but Alice Cooper is a very devout Christian. He's actually started this... I saw an interview with him on YouTube, and he actually started this thing where they'll take kids and teach them how to play music, and if they want to go into like the Christian side of this organization, they can. You telling me he's going to hell for that?
Oh yeah, just because of how the guitars are and how the drums and the vocals and the bass and the synthesizers are. If you label yourself heavy metal, you're going to hell.
Are you also under the impression, April and Dwayne Show, are you also under the impression that people who play the saxophone are going to hell because the saxophone has a... I heard it described as like a sexy, jazzy sound. What about the clarinet? I play the clarinet. It has a sort of a jazzy sound. Am I going to hell for that?
Oh yeah, jazz was very satanic back in those days, and they said that jazz promoted marijuana use, and freaking classical. Back in the old days, you couldn't write out a certain note, which is called the diminished note, because it was thought to bring out the demons. During the Salem witch trials, you couldn't dance because it was thought to be a ritualistic thing for the demons, especially women dancing. God forbid if a woman dances, then all hell's gonna break loose. Hell, alchemy, science, medicine, all those things were thought to be satanic.
Wow, 15 minutes, we're 43 seconds into this video. This is gonna be a doozy.
Yeah, just because a couple of bands you just played talk about going to hell, like I said, a lot of them write from a third-person perspective. A lot of them write satanic material for the shock value. Just like Kiss dresses up the way they do because of the shock value back in the early days. Alice Cooper, shock rocker. Freaking Slayer. And they're not... A lot of people think they're Satanists when really the vocalist and bass player is Catholic. And Kerry King is the one that's atheist, but none of those members are satanic. They just do it for the shock value. They do it because it gets them attention.
Granted, I will give him this. There are some satanic bands. I think let's see, what are some? Gogoroth, Marilyn Manson.
Marilyn Manson, I don't think he's satanic anymore, but he's an anti-Christian, I know that much.
He had an album called Antichrist Superstar.
Marilyn Manson was a shock rocker anyway.
And he's He's kind of well known though. He for ripping Bibles up on stage, and he's also a Satanist. Pretty sure because he was like best friends with Anton LaVey or whatever that dude's name was that started like the Church of Satan.
He said something in an interview with Bill O'Reilly, though, saying like it was a title given to him that he's not a Satanist. I'll link that in the description.
I really don't trust anything Bill O'Reilly says, though.
Alright, but it's not what Bill O'Reilly said, it's what Marilyn Manson said in the interview. The metal bands, including Carnifex's Hell Chose Me album, makes you comfortable with the idea of hell and being in hell. Ladies and gentlemen, just because of the album cover, you're comfortable with the idea of hell. It's not... Yeah, because it's so different from what horror movies portray. When they portray demons, when they portray a hell-like atmosphere.
You ever seen The Exorcist?
I have not, but I heard it was based on a true story. I think I'm talking about the Emily Rose one.
No, I'm not. I'm talking about like the original one that involves the girl whose head goes full 360 and she vomits pea soup. That one.
I've seen clips, but I haven't seen the full movie.
It's on Netflix.
I'll be sure to watch it. Are you telling me that heavy metal is any different from that?
A lot of it is very different from that. Let's go. Iron Maiden, their song "The Trooper," nothing to do with Satan. It's about a battle.
Oh, The Number of the Beast. It was influenced from a poem.
I heard it was about a nightmare that one of them had.
Nightmare. It was a nightmare or a poem. I'll caption it.
One or the other. But Bruce Dickinson, like whenever he hears people call him, they're like, Iron Maiden Satanist. That dude gets extremely offended.
I don't blame him for being offended. I mean, how would you feel if that happened to you and you put out something for shock value?
You tell me you've never done anything just to shock people? You've never... You know what? Shock value can be something as simple as you wait behind a door, you wait for one of your friends to walk through that door, and you jump out and scare them. That's shock value in a sense.
That is shock value. In some cases, what magicians do.
They make something disappear and then they bring it back. That's shocking. Granted, it's not in the way that you might depict, you might think of Slayer as, but it's still shock value. Doesn't make it bad.
Are you telling me that magicians and your friends surprising you for shock value is part of the Illuminati scheme? Oh my god. Oh my fucking god. Witchcraft and Satanism.
I have never once seen a band promote witchcraft. I really haven't. I know that some bands, like the singer from Godsmack is like a Wicca or something.
A lot of it is for shock value.
I get nothing.
But promoting witchcraft, I don't think any of them have actually promoted witchcraft. I know there are bands that talk about it, but as far as actually advocating it, not once have I heard anything about promotion of witchcraft. Demonic possession and rage.
Rage? Maybe. That'd be like thrash metal, wouldn't it?
Like, the atmosphere, it's supposed to be rage. A lot of it is to let your aggression out. Metal is the way it is because it fits a certain group of people just to let their steam out when they listen to music. Let their rage out. When you go to a concert, it's a break from everyday bullshit that you have to go through in your life. From putting up with your parents fighting, to putting up with being an outcast at school because you're a metalhead, to having a shitty day job. I mean, that's what metal is primarily, rage. They can combine other emotions to it also and do a very good job with it, but rage is definitely a factor in the music.
Plus, it's like, you have to let your aggression out somehow. If you just hold that build up, I'm speaking from personal experience, it's like shaking a soda bottle. It's eventually gonna blow up unless you let it out.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think some people take karate? Some people listen to music. Some people play video games. Some people go to a concert. Some people write music. Some people, like Stout and me, if we get angry, we record a rant on YouTube, and it lets the anger out.
I also write music whenever I want to let some steam out.
I listen to music. I record videos. I play video games. What's wrong with that?
Video games, same with me. Nothing, dude.
What's wrong with that? I don't... People think that getting angry is a sin. No, it's like, based on this, I'm going to assume that you're a Christian, plus you left a comment here that says, turn back to Jesus, which is great. You know, if you're a Christian, great. I'm a Christian, but it's like, anger itself is not a sin. It's not evil. Jesus got angry when, like, he saw those people in that temple. He started using, like, a cat of nine tails. That's a 9-barbed whip.
Oh, yeah, dude. I was thinking the exact same story, actually, when Jesus saw that people were selling products at the temple. He just started flipping the desks and freeing the birds from the cages. Yeah, I remember that.
He was angry, righteous anger. If you get angry at something, it all depends on what you do. If you go out and you kill somebody, yeah, that's bad. But if you are mad and you need to just go into, like, your office or your room or something and turn on some music and cool down, how is that a bad thing?
Now get a punching bag. That's a great way to let out some anger.
How is this I do not understand how this is a bad thing at all. If anything, I'd say if you're angry and you just go in your room and listen to music, I'd say you're a very stable person if that's what you do to go let out some steam.
Agreed. And demonic possession, again, a lot of it's shock value, and nobody gets possessed by Satan himself when they write music. If you write something that you're proud of, and you just get emotional about it, that's not Satan. You just feel good. You have the music in you. It's some adrenaline, basically. Violence. Yes, they talk about violence in the lyrics. However, they're not promoting violence.
Also, simply talking about violence, once again, not a bad thing. Judging by this, once again, the context I've seen in your comments and your video, I'm assuming you're a Christian. The Bible talks about violence all the time. Noah's Ark. Everyone died. Except a handful of people.
Murder?
Cain killed his brother. Jesus was crucified. It says they drove a nail through his hand, and it wouldn't have been a sharp nail, so it wouldn't have gone through. It would have been a dull, like something you would think of like a rail tie or something like that. Not a rail tie. You would use to nail down railway, something like that. The cat of nine tails scene, all sorts of things. It's just the way of the world. Nature is violent. Animals. You ever seen a predator eat its prey? I saw my cat one time eat a mouse. She ripped the thing in half. It's just nature. It's just the way it works. Violence it's just the way the universe exists.
You have to be violent in some cases. For instance, if your life is in danger, you have to defend yourself. You have to get violent.
Self-defense. 9 out of 10 times, if somebody's threatening your life, you're not going to be able... If somebody's holding a gun to your head, you're probably not going to be able to talk them out of it. More than likely, you're going to have to do everything you can to flip that gun around on them.
Blasphemy! Mocking the church and Christianity. Well, as far as the church goes, the majority of churches have done more bad than good over time. We have the Crusades, for example. We have the Pope lying to the Crusade army, saying that all your sins are atoned for if you fight this war, this holy war, taking back the land for God, when really it's for selfish reasons.
That is one of my biggest problems with the Catholic Church, is the fact that, pardon me, I'm drinking root beer right now, and they said like, oh, we can absolve your sins, despite the fact that in the Bible it makes it clear after Jesus died on the cross that priests are not to forgive you of your sins anymore. It's Jesus.
And according to your book also, there's no middleman, pretty much. They also speak of false prophets. I'm thinking of televangelists right now. What would you consider a televangelist that claims to heal people when people spaz out like crazy?
Crap,
phony. I think some people just partake in it just for the hell of it. I heard there was some
Now I'm pretty sure some of them get paid off.
Some of them do get paid a lot from what I've read up and everything, and some people have a drug reaction, like in something like a reaction in your brain when you're in a spur of a moment type thing. I forget what the reaction is called exactly, but something in your brain.
Mob mentality.
Mob mentality, I think that's what it is.
So it's let's say mob mentality, I think is what you're thinking of, but I'm pretty sure most of those TV evangelists are full of crap.
They are, dude, and they've been exposed to Peter Popoff, a great example. He had an earpiece and his wife was talking to him. People would think he's a prophet. He knew everybody's name and addresses when really the wife was telling him all this information, and an atheist actually picked it up, and he was MIA for 20 years, and he's still pulling the same shit, and people fall for it. He's selling a packet of water that will give you miracles.
Oh, that reminds me of one of my favorite LPers on YouTube, Azurite Reaction. He was actually talking about this thing. He was watching TV one night, and he saw this advertisement. And this dude came on the commercial and said, I can see now that there is some like 60-year-old woman watching this. You need money. Well, guess what? If you buy this product, Jesus will send $500 your way, or like $5,000 your way.
That is a load of bullshit, and they're not
How is that even legal?
They're not prophesying anything, number one. They're saying general things like, there's a 60-year-old woman watching me. Of course there's going to be elderly people watching your program. A lot of these elderly people are brainwashed, and they know how to manipulate the system. They're smart businessmen, I'll give them that much. But they're using their skills of being a businessman for the very wrong reasons. To mislead people, to put them in debt.
Reminds me of that episode of South Park where it's like, Stanley's grandfather buys him that like $15,000 necklace or something like that.
And as far as the legal thing, it's under religion, and I know the government can't get involved with religion and can't tax them.
My question is this. No, it's like, but the thing is, how is that legal? Because that is not a church function. That I can understand people wanting to sue them for fraud. I'm a Christian and I would sue them for fraud. Granted, I don't think I'd be dumb enough to buy that product, but
people follow religion for the sole reason of wanting a purpose. That's not to say anything about you, Random Xbox, but I'm just saying in general.
No, don't worry. It's okay, guys. I'll kill him later.
Metal bands such as Suicide Silence promotes and invokes thoughts of suicide in fans by making them comfortable with the idea of killing themselves.
Jesus told me to smite you.
Just because the band picture I'm looking at right now is two band members doing this, just because they're doing that, the gun motion, all of a sudden they're promoting suicide. And when bands talk about suicide like that, they're not saying you should go kill yourself. They're talking from that perspective. They're trying to reach out to the audience. And people listen to that and they hold on to that because it's deep to them.
It also, do you listen to Avenged Sevenfold?
I listen to some of their stuff, yeah.
Alright, you know like how on some of their old pictures, like you would see the Rev doing like the gun thing to like his chin or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
I can't name one song by them that promotes suicide. Can you?
I can't think of any. Most importantly, metal also promotes hatred for Christianity and Jesus, the Savior of the world, and only true God. There are Christian heavy metal bands. Are you saying that they're facade? Are you saying that they're false? They're false Christians?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You know, Skillet, they always talk about how much they love Jesus, but secretly they're all Satanists. Yeah, seems legit.
Oh yeah, Demon Hunter, POD, Skillet, Zeo, Norma Jean, Becoming the Archetype, all these Christian bands are part of this secret cult, and they pretend to promote Christianity in their lyrics and their message, when really, they're subliminally telling people to be Satanists.
Also, another weird thing, I love how it says Satanic Illuminati. I'm pretty sure the Illuminati are supposed to be like aren't they supposed to be atheist, not satanic?
Something along those lines, yeah.
But are you also members of Chevelle? They're Catholics. Are you telling me that they are Satanists?
Because they don't say Jesus in any of their lyrics.
Seems legit.
Mm-hmm.
Are you saying Stout is a Satanist because he doesn't write songs about Jesus?
Oh. You guilty as charged right here.
I always knew it. First, let's break down demon possession in metal.
Metal artists are under demonic control during live performances.
Haven't heard that one in a while.
Have you ever heard of adrenaline in your entire life? The rush that you feel when you get amped up for something. You have to be amped up at a concert. You can't just go on stage and be all stiff and tight, because you would be boring.
I have an American Heritage Dictionary right in front of me. What's the word? Let me look up the definition of possession. Real quick. You keep talking. Give me a second, Stout.
Demonic possession. Just because of the atmosphere and the music they play, and they have mosh pits at the concerts, just because they jump around and act crazy on stage, they are under demonic control.
Possession. The act or fact of possessing, the state of being possessed, something owned or possessed, possessions, wealth or property, actual holding or occupancy with or without rightful ownership, a territory subject to foreign control, self-control, the state of being dominated by, or as if by, evil spirits or by an obsession. Oh, proper credit where credit is due. The American Heritage College Dictionary. Proper credit.
Let me ask you something, April and Wayne Show. How do you feel when you watch your favorite sport on TV? Do you get all amped up? Do you have your adrenaline flowing? Do you get amped up when your pastor gives an emotional testimony? Do you get amped up when you watch your favorite sports program? Amped up when you find out your child has passed high school and graduated?
It's called adrenaline.
Mm-hmm.
Or the scientific word, epinephrine.
Oh yeah, and people are excited. They're getting their adrenaline out in a setting such as a metal concert. Would you rather them intake drugs and harm themselves to hold their emotions back? Would you rather someone hold their emotions back than let out that energy in a positive manner?
Epinephrine, a hormone secreted by the adrenal medulla in response to physical or mental stress, as from fear, initiating many bodily responses, including an increased heart rate and blood pressure. Also, one thing they forgot to tell you, also it can be under eustress, which is the good kind of stress. You know, the kind of stress you see, like Stout mentioned, when you see your child graduating high school. That's eustress. At least most of the time it is.
So you're saying all kinds of stress is awful because it's not in the name of God.
Also from this dictionary.
Indeed.
And in response to that, the fact that metal artists are under demonic control during performances, give me 1 second, Stout. There, now I feel like I have significantly lowered my intelligence so that way I can understand exactly what he's saying. Or he or she.
These demons not only control artists' performances, but enhances their skills.
Tenacious D in the Pick of Destiny.
That is satanic right there.
I think that's where he got this one, because, you know, they're trying to find the pig that's like Satan's tooth or something like that, despite the fact that that movie was supposed to be comedy, and it was freaking hilarious.
But it's Satan, though, because it's talking about the Pick of Destiny. It's talking about enhancing your skills in the name of rock and roll, which essentially is satanic.
Is anything that mentions Satan evil? Because by that logic, the Bible is satanic. Does that make any sense?
You know how much violence there is in the Bible, April and Wayne? Or do you just listen to what your pastor says? Because your pastors and your Christian schools do not teach you how to read the Bible. They only teach you the first couple books of of the Old Testament, and they teach you to not go by the Old Testament and to only go by the New Testament. But I'm not going to go into my personal views on religion. I'll do that in a separate video. But my point exactly.
So, that's logic down the drain.
And by the way, there are musicians that go on in their career and suck rather than get better. I mean, look at Metallica's Saint Anger and Lulu.
I'm sorry, but I firmly believe that God must like stupid people because he sure makes a lot of them.
They're entertainment for God, pretty much. They're entertainment for us as well.
Many artists, including rock and non-rock artists, have admitted to being possessed by spirits and not under control of themselves during performances. I can think of one, Carlos Santana. I can think of one.
And when they talk about spirits, they're talking about the adrenaline and the eustress and...
They're not actually being possessed. Now granted, am I saying that demon possession is absolutely impossible? I have never seen it myself, but I've learned not to rule anything out of the realm of possibility, because that ends up just coming back to bite you.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say it's impossible, but I've never once seen it happen.
Yeah, and a lot of times when people talk about demonic possession, metaphor.
They're blowing smoke.
Mm-hmm. Or they have taken too many drugs at one time.
Like, members of Black Sabbath, they were all convinced that, like, they had this book that was, like, the secret, fifth or sixth member of Black Sabbath. I can't remember how many were in that. But guess what? We all know it's a load of crap. They were just high. Seriously, every single one of those people in Black Sabbath was on drugs all the time, especially Osbourne.
Osbourne has taken every drug. More than enough drugs to kill you. To kill 5 different people. And he's still alive.
As much as I love Osbourne, by all accounts, he should be dead, but he's not. Am I saying I want him dead? No, because I think he's a good musician. Rest in peace, Lane Staley.
I just go crazy when I go on stage. It's like somebody else takes over my body. That is Glenn Tipton of Judas Priest. Hit Parader, Fall 1984.
Actually, I have one thing I need to say about that when you're done.
So you're just taking these quotes and you're using them for your own agenda, essentially. I'm just going to read the rest of these quotes that pop up in the video.
You can't describe it, playing rock music. Except to say it's like a mysterious energy that comes from the metaphysical plane and into my body. It's almost like being a medium.
Sounds like adrenaline. And that is Mark Stolrice. I've always considered that there was some way where we were able to channel energy. And that energy was able to be from another source. If you like a higher power or something that was actually doing the work. I've often thought of us just being actually just the earthly beings that played the music because it was uncanny. Some of the music came out extremely uncanny, and that is Bill Ward from Black Sabbath. Doesn't sound satanic at all. Sounds like Eastern religion, like Buddhism, right there. Taoism.
It sounds like the dude just believes that he's just a body and he has a spirit somewhere.
Yeah. That does not sound satanic at all. They could be very spiritual people. You can be spiritual and not believe in a religion. Believe it or not.
Agnostic theist example.
I am a good example of that. Thank you.
Also, in relation to that quote from Judas Priest, to me, that sounds an awful lot like adrenaline. I just go crazy when I go on stage. It's like someone else takes over my body. Speaking from experience, I have had adrenaline rushes before, and quite frankly, it really is like you are just sitting there watching yourself do something. Or like, yes, people do have like an out-of-body experience. Sometimes like there is a phenomena where if somebody's having surgery, they'll have a dream, or they're like watching themselves be operated on. It's just phenomena. That's not satanic. That's just something that's difficult to explain.
I mean, of course you're going to be excited when you go on stage. You are famous for what you love doing. You're playing in front of millions of people on stage. Wouldn't you be excited if you were in front of millions of people and you were famous for doing something that you loved?
I just don't see how any of this is bad. Alright, Angus Young, lead guitarist for AC/DC, is called the Guitar Demon. And he admitted that something takes control of the band during their concerts. It's like I'm on automatic pilot. By the time we're halfway through the first number, someone else is steering me, I'm just along for the ride, I become possessed when I get on stage. Once again, adrenaline. Adrenaline works like that. It really is like you're just sitting there watching yourself. For example, one time I got bitten by a pit bull. So it was like I was in 7th or 8th grade, I believe, 7th or 8th. And when I got bitten, I flipped around very quickly and ran down a hill. I was barely even aware of the fact that I was moving before I got down that hill. It was honestly like my legs were just moving on their own. And I was just sitting there just like a torso on a chair or something, like torso on a wheelchair, just not doing anything. But I'm still moving. It's just the way it works. It's because your brain is sort of putting itself on autopilot.
Oh yeah, man. Alright, I got this next one. Example, the faceless drummer plays clearly under demonic influence with his eyes closed most of his performance, yet he plays very skillfully. Watch closely, and I'm gonna actually put this in the video right here of him playing that particular drum clip.
You do know that, like, you can learn your music well enough to where you can play it without looking. What was his name? What's that blind guy's name? He's a blind singer. I forget what his name is. I can't remember. I have to look that up. But I know how to play. I know how to play my scales on my clarinet. I know how to do it without having to have my eyes open. I could just go piece of cake. It's easy.
I could do some things on the guitar without looking at my neck, because I've developed my skills over time to play the guitar, and I've spent hours a day to build up my skills, and I still do that.
He's clearly demonic.
One night we were playing, and suddenly the spirit entered into me, and I was playing, but it was no longer me playing. That is John McLaughlin, leader of the orchestra. I can't pronounce that. Mahavishnu? Alright, sorry.
Mahavishnu Orchestra. Vishnu. Isn't it like Hindu?
It sounds Eastern Europe-ish.
Vishnu, I believe is Hindu. I could be wrong.
It might be that, or it might be Eastern Europe, like Ukrainian or Russian or something like that. Correct. Sorry for the lack of knowledge on that, but once again, adrenaline. You're doing something that you love. You are famous for it. You are performing in front of a live audience. Or you are recording a song and you know that you're gonna get your music out there. Adrenaline. Eustress.
Why is everything that isn't easily explainable? Anyways, this is actually very easily explainable. I should say this. Why is it that everything that isn't directly 100% Bible satanic? Why?
Because people fear what they do not know. If you don't understand it, you have to be scared of it rather than trying to understand it. Me, when I want to understand something, I look into it before I form my own opinion so that I don't appear as a jackass. But people like you use fear based on very little knowledge of something that you have, and you preach your fear onto people, and you have more people believing in your bullshit.
Now, here's the thing. Fear tactics, while effective, are often very morally wrong. Very immoral.
Especially with religion.
I mean, seriously, a fear tactic. You can point a gun to someone's head. They'll probably do what you want them to do. But it's still a fear tactic.
It is a fear tactic. You don't do something, you're gonna die.
And it's very wrong.
It's like being possessed. Like a psychic or a medium. John Lennon. Oh God. John Lennon is Satanist now. He just called a legend a Satanist.
First of all, you know what's sad? Is this dude even aware? April and Wayne, are they even aware of the fact that the Beatles were on so many drugs that it's not even funny? So many of these bands, they were on drugs. So what they say is pretty inadmissible.
They're under the influence of a drug, not a spirit. Pretty much the same thing with the Native Americans when they saw spirits. A lot of them were doing marijuana.
Peace pipe.
The peace pipe. Oh my God, the stupidity. Although it is very, very stupid and it enrages me. You influence a lot of great content, and for that I applaud you. When the real music comes to me, it has nothing to do with me because I'm just a channel. It's given to me and I transcribe it. Again, from John Lennon. John Lennon is a Satanist, according to April and Wayne.
I don't know about you, I don't think I've ever heard anything about John Lennon's religious affiliation.
I think he was spiritual. Don't quote me on that, but I know for a fact he was not Christian. I know for a fact he was not religious. He obviously didn't believe in religion. I mean, imagine a world without religion. A quote from a song.
Don't even get me started on that because it bugs the crap out of me when people say, like, a world, good God, I screwed that up. A world without religion would be like 10,000 years more advanced. Like, why would you even bother holding on to a, quote, ideal that is impossible to happen? It will never happen. Simple. Religion will always exist. There's no point in believing otherwise. I'm sorry. It's gonna exist.
As idealistic and as positive and good intentional that are with this, as long as humanity exists, there will always be new religions, there will always be new political parties, there will always be something to corrupt humanity. We might be at an era of peace for a short amount of time, but there will never be true peace. In fact, the world's going to get worse, so be happy with what you got right now. When a person is in extreme demonic possession, oftentimes demons talk through a person in deep growling voices. And I love this quote. I fucking love this quote. In metal, deep growls are actually imitation of demons and demonic influences. Just because a lot of death metal involves exclusively demonic growls, all of a sudden, it's satanic.
Hold on. What? You're saying that people who growl are satanic. Okay.
What about bears? What about bears? What about dogs? What about when a human growls, not for any music genre, but growls when they're angry?
Or like, for example, when you're playing with your dog, like playing Tug of War, you might go, grrr, grrr. Just, you're playing with your dog, but is that satanic?
Apparently it is.
Okay. I just posted 3 videos last night, or the night before, of one of my friends' bands. Actually, 3 friends, I don't know the singer that well. It Gateway to Nowhere, and they made a song called Another Death. Now, in this song, I'm not gonna give out their names because I don't have their permission to do that yet. But their drummer also does the screaming. But guess what? Pretty much every member of that band, extremely devout Christian.
No, but wait. They're not real Christians. They have metal influences. They're automatically Satanists.
They are not Satanists by any stretch of the imagination. Almost every one of them. I don't know, but once again, I don't know the singer that well, but I know their bassist, I know their drummer, screamer, and I know their main guitarist.
Metal artists even sing about different types of demonic possession. This goes with what we were talking about earlier. Metaphors, shock value. In metal bands Whitechapel, in metal bands such as Whitechapel's song Possession, a line in the lyrics is, "Eyes are glaring red with a conscience set to kill." Describes extreme demonic possession. Shock value. Shock value. They do this for attention.
I don't know what to say besides the fact that I love how you sit here and complain about these shock values, and not you, stop it. This guy, he's like sitting here saying these people are satanic, but yet you have videos called "I Saw Muhammad in Hell." I saw homosexuals in hell. Did you die and go to hell and come back? I'm not saying it's impossible, because there was actually a book I read called 23 Minutes in Hell, where this dude had like an out-of-body experience. It was actually a very good read, but is that what you're saying? Because if that's the case, then it doesn't really seem like you have much place to say that these people are satanic.
What right mind does anybody have to say that this is Christian, this is godly, this is satanic? Are you God? No, you're not. You're not even God's messenger. You're just a nut job that thinks that they know all about Christianity just because they've read a few fucking verses from the Bible that they probably learned from their pastor.
And don't even get me started on the whole taking the Bible out of context.
Oh man, I got so much to say about that in the future.
Like these people that say that, like, well, the Bible advocates cannibalism and it says eat my blood and my flesh. That sounds horrible by itself, doesn't it, Stout? By itself, that sounds horrible.
Are you talking about when Jesus is passing the bread and the wine during the last meal?
Yeah, I'm saying, like, the eat my blood and my flesh. That, I'm just saying, by itself, if you only heard that, that sounds appalling. But if you look at it in context, it's symbolic. It's symbolic, and it's bread and wine. Example. So, don't give me that crap. Not you, Stuff. Like the whole, oh, the Bible says this. You show me the verses around it, and give me some context. Otherwise, I take it with a grain of salt.
These artists have sold their soul to the devil, which allowed their demonic influences to occur.
I don't want to live on this planet anymore.
Yep. Every metal artist, every musical artist that is not hymnal, old school, gospel choir affiliated had signed a contract with Satan to sell their soul to the devil, to Satan. Great Futurama quote, by the way.
In Smash Hits magazine, Bon Jovi says, I'd kill my mother for rock and roll, I would sell my soul.
He was probably not being literal when he said that.
Second of all, once again, this is one thing I hate about quotes. A lot of times, they are taken out of context. He could be being very sarcastic. And what I'm just saying, I'm not saying he is, because I've never read that magazine, but for all we know, he could be being sarcastic when he said that.
I don't think Bon Jovi would kill his mother for rock and roll. I would think he would love his family very much.
Pretty sure Bon Jovi is a Christian, ain't he?
I believe so, yes. I believe a lot of people that are not in Christian bands, but are in regular bands, are Christian members.
Once again, Chevelle.
Every non-metal artist admitted to selling their souls to Satan for fame and fortune. Satan has been used as a metaphor to describe freedom, to describe liberation from religious oppression, not necessarily the literal Satan, the character. I believe there is a branch of Satanism that talks about that.
Now, example? No, I will give him this. I taste bacon.
Oh, and you can't eat bacon if you read Leviticus, but that's besides the point. Selling soul to Satan for fame and fortune. A lot of people don't describe Satan as the literal character from the Bible. They describe it as a metaphor.
Or like when people say, that's Satan. You mean that why would you say that is Satan? Why wouldn't you say that is of Satan? Maybe this is just the grammar Nazi in me coming out, but...
Yeah, I noticed some grammar issues in this video, too.
I've noticed more than a few. The band's Whitechapel. I'm pretty sure Whitechapel is a band.
Continuing. I was directed and commanded by another power. The power of darkness that a lot of people don't believe exists. The power of the devil Satan. Little Richard, cited by Charles White, The Life and Times of Little Richard, page 206.
Granted, I will say this. There are some artists who are satanic, who are Satanists. There are some. Marilyn Manson and Gogoroth, two examples. Or at least are sort of like a branch of it. Some people are like that. Yes. However, once again, my problem with you is the fact that you're lumping everybody into this one group. That would be like me lumping all Southerners into one group and designating them racists.
Oh, and it's like lumping all Christians together and saying that they all shove their religions down people's throats. And the Mr. Random Xbox is one of the very few Christians you can actually have a conversation with if you stay calm and you calmly express your religious views and share your views and just learn off each other, basically.
For example, I've had quite extensive conversations with Ranting Ramsey on Xbox Live about religion and all that stuff. Had quite a few discussions with him. Guess what? Pretty calm individual. Ranting Ramsey is pretty cool, actually. Yes, consider this my official advocation for you to all go and bomb the crap out of his subscriber count. Seriously. He needs more subscribers.
Alright, I'll leave his channel in the description down below. And continuing.
Elaine has personally met a great number of the rock stars. They have all agreed to serve Satan in return for money and fame. These rock stars know exactly what they are doing. They are step by step teaching untold millions of young people to worship and serve Satan. Elaine attended special ceremonies at various recording studios throughout the U.S. for the specific purpose of placing satanic blessings on the rock music recorded. At times, they also called up special demons who spoke on the recordings, especially in the various backmasked messages. Also, in many of the recordings, the Satanists themselves were recorded in the background, masked by the overall noise of the music, doing chants and incantations to summon up more demons every time one of the recordings or tapes or videos is played. As the music is played, these demons are called into the room to afflict the person playing the music and anyone else who is listening. The purpose of all this? Mind control. Mind control not only gives the listeners understanding of the message about Satan conveyed to them by the music, but also to prevent them from recognizing their need for Jesus and the salvation he died on the cross to give us.
I call crap.
How do you know this person was being honest with the whole Satan thing? Do you believe everything you read in books? Because there are books that are written by authors that are dishonest.
Let's see. What do you got? Sigmund Freud. He may have not been dishonest, but most of his theories have been proven to be crap. Just saying.
Mind control. Satan controls the minds of the youth with corruption through these bands. Because every band in the heavy metal genre is full of corruption, and they all influence you to do horrible, horrible things. They teach you to not be Christians, when in fact they teach you to hate Christianity and Jesus.
Let's see. Oh, let's see. Stop. How many metal bands do we listen to? Let's see. Mastodon, Metallica, Iron Maiden, Judas Priest. How many of them advocate hate for Christianity?
From what I know, none of them. And if they do talk about religion, they're talking about their personal views on religion. They're not telling people to be what they are.
Also, Megadeth. Dave Mustaine's a Christian. He doesn't shove his beliefs down people's throats.
Although he does talk about his religion quite a bit.
That's fine though, because it's polite. It's not like he walks up to somebody on the street, knocks him out cold, and ties him to a pulpit in church. I'm gonna do that to troll one of my friends one day.
In Whitechapel's Possession, not only is it about demonic possession, but mind control. A line in the lyrics says, oh, and before I read the lyrics for you guys, grammar error, grammar Nazi is coming out of me. You need to put an apostrophe S in Whitechapel's name. Did you go to school at all? Did you pass high school? Did you pass elementary school?
Oh, how many commas is he missing? How many commas is he missing? One after possession, one after the other possession. If I was a teacher and I was grading this, I would give this like a 50.
I think you're being generous with giving him a 50. I would straight up flunk him.
That is a flunking grade.
I would flunk everything, even if he had correct answers for everything. I would flunk everything if I saw this on a test.
Can you flunk someone for idiocy? That's revolutionary in teaching, because everyone's a winner. I'll cover that topic in a later video, though, about, the complete wussification of our education system. For we have you all under control. Underlined, by the way. ... which makes me think that he skipped a couple of important lyrics. Men will inspire the works of a new era of corruption. And you can read that, because I don't swear on camera.
God damn you all. And when they talk about corruption, when bands talk about corruption like this a lot of times, they're not talking about influencing you to be satanic. They're talking about political corruption, religious corruption, corruption within the family, corruption with war, human corruption. As long as you're a human, there will always be corruption. As long as humanity exists, there will never be peace.
Humans are pretty much born corrupted. I'm sorry, as much as I would love to believe that people are born innately good, it's a load of crap. We're born with an innate selfish desire. That's just the way we are. We are an imperfect creation. Represents mind control, programming, and satanic torture.
And we'll see what this person is talking about next. Continuing. Oh, in the music videos, they're obviously talking about mind control in a satanic way. Yeah, when they're talking about mind control, they're talking about political propaganda, religious propaganda, not satanic. Some of the lyrics to the song are, how the fuck could anyone believe the truth when the religious fools have endless prophecies? They are most likely talking about the corruption of the church, the corruption of televangelists, the corruption
of religion in general.
The corruption of religion in general. Westboro Baptist Church. Peter Popoff.
What was that one dude's name that claimed he knew when the rapture was going to happen? Harold Camping, yeah.
He's a great example. Are you a fan of Harold Camping? He prophesied that May 21st, 2011 would be the end of the world. Guess what? Many people gave donation money to this guy. People have lost their jobs.
A lot of people gave up all their possessions.
People have lost their jobs. People gave up everything for this guy. And this isn't the only time that this has happened. They do this yeah, he did do this twice, back in 1994. They have done this throughout history when religious figures like that come around. Because they want a sense of purpose. That's what religion is there for in general.
This is not us saying religion is a bad thing. It's corruption of it that's a bad thing.
I find it amusing when you think it all makes sense. I have the solution. Bring it all down to an end. Now that I have control, which is underlined, of you, and italicized, of you all, this situation is only getting worse. The darkest day of man is up on us all. You are all now reborn to serve your purpose well. Now the world can rest in peace forever. Third person perspective. Third person perspective. They are not saying that you should be Satanists. When they talk about control, they're talking about the bigotry side of man, the narrow-mindedness, the hateful side of man. That kind of thing destroys humanity. That kind of thing makes the world worse.
Humanity is corrupted. We are undoubtedly the most corrupted species in known existence. And humans are not perfect. Animals are not perfect. Bacteria are not perfect. This earth is not perfect. Nothing is perfect. Just being completely honest here. Nothing in this finite universe is perfect. The only thing I could think of that could be even remotely perceived as perfect would be Earth's position in the solar system. It just happens to be the perfect size and the perfect position near the sun to be able to support life. It just happens to be perfect. One of the reasons I think the Big Bang Theory is a lot of BS, but another story. Oh, by the way, also reminds me of Control. Once again, going back to Master of Puppets, it's talking about a drug that controls you.
Oh yeah, that is a good point that you make, man.
It does. Drugs control your life. They will. They will do it.
Alcohol. If you intake too much alcohol, if you're addicted to playing video games, that can control your life. If you eat too much pizza, that can take control of your life. Anything can take control of your life.
Ain't just Satan, dude. It's anything.
Song meaning. Don't believe the religious fools. Christians. Bring it all to an end. Christianity. And without it, the world can be at peace. But in reality, when this happens, the darkest day of man will truly be upon us.
Why do you assume he's just talking about Christianity? Is it because you're a Christian? I think that's it. I'm a Christian. I didn't even assume he was talking to... Dang it, it's thunder. I didn't even assume he was just talking about Christianity.
I'm pretty sure they would have brought up Christianity, and in interviews as well, they would be bashing Christianity even more if that is the case.
And plus, for all you know, he may not even be talking about just religion. They may just be talking about religious intolerance or religious corruption. Corruption in the church.
I forgot to mention one thing in the video. They could be talking about your inner demons whenever they're talking about demonic possession.
And everybody has them. Everybody. A pet peeve could be perceived as an inner demon. Or the fact that maybe you have a really short fuse or something that whenever you see it or hear about it, it just makes your blood boil. That can be an inner demon. It's just, that's not even necessarily a demon. It's just a human psychological phenomenon. And those things can take control of your life. A vendetta, a grudge, can take control of your life.
Whitechapel song programs the minds of the youth to hate anything to do with Christianity.
I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. Every time I see garbage, it really just makes me lose all bowel control. I'm so sorry, Stout. Did you crap this video out? Did you? I seriously think he just crapped on a keyboard and it made this.
It's a combination of crap and vomit mixed together in a smoothie format.
Veil of Maya's video, Unbreakable, also represents Satanic Illuminati mind control program.
Oh God.
I have a friend who listens to Veil of Maya, and they are not Satanic Illuminati. I'm pretty sure they're Christian.
I don't know if they are. I'll have to look into them a little more, but I know they are an awesome.
I'm not talking about I'm talking about my friend, not Veil of Maya.
Oh, okay, but Veil of Maya, a great metal band. Good God. Apparently, a lot of the lyrics from these metal bands are too deep for you to comprehend, so you have to come up with your own meaning, and in this case, Satan.
Oh, wait a minute. Also, Gojira's Liquid Fire. That song has a very, heavy sound to it. It's Liquid Fire. It might be Satanic, Stout, despite the fact that I'm pretty sure it's about being left to survive on your own pretty much throughout your whole life. And, not just taking anything based on somebody's word. This back of this chair is really loose. And that, just because it isn't about God, does not make it against God.
If it doesn't say Jesus, and if it doesn't praise Jesus, it's automatically Satan. You're going to take Romans out of context, the verse that says if you're not with God, you're against God. You're going to take that out of context in this situation.
I'm sorry, but I do believe that there are gray areas. I agree, I think that there are gray areas. Also, it's not like, honestly, I'm pretty sure God is smart enough to know the fact that humans, you can be the most devout Christian to ever exist. And even then,
there are gray areas, despite what the church or the Bible may say.
Your thoughts are not always going to be God this, God that, God this, God that. They're not always going to be like that.
Oh no, dude. Those are the normal Christians. But then again, there are people that just take all groups of Christians and put them into one and call them mentally ill. And those are the types of people that I hate when they do that, when they say that all Christians are like that. I'm going to make a video on extremist atheists and Christians in a future time, but yeah.
Here comes the part where I whore my channel out. Feel free to make that a video response to my video.
Oh yeah, I'll put your video in the description. The mind control device attached to their heads in the music video shows that their minds are under direct control. They do that in the music video because that's what the lyrics are about. They are portraying a story.
This fork that I'm holding shows that I am determined to become obese. Does that make any sense?
Oh my God. I cannot take you seriously. Some of the lyrics are, we all hold the power to trust and have faith in ourselves. I love this right here. Ellipsis. Now is the time to believe in yourself. The song teaches to have faith in yourself instead of God. No, that is saying that you need to build your self-confidence and believe in yourself more.
Satanic Illuminati mind control.
Our IQs from watching this video have dropped.
This is so stupid.
Good Lord Almighty.
I feel like my intelligence has been grievously, which one is it? Grievous or grievous?
That lyric teaches you to have faith in yourself for self-confidence reasons so that you are not a mope and talk about killing yourself and having thoughts of the world would be better without me.
I feel insulted. I really do.
Believe it or not, there are metal bands out there that advocate peace and positivity. God forbid positivity be in a heavy metal song.
Friggin' kidding me? I was laughing at this earlier, but now I'm just plain mad. I feel insulted. I really do. I feel I'm offended. This is offensive.
This is offensive for me too. This is the part where I got really pissed. Like, I was having a good time laughing at the video at the beginning, but then when I got to that part earlier, I'm just like, what the hell?
This video is offensive to metalheads, and it is offensive to your fellow Christians.
It's Christians like you that make Christianity look bad. Look even worse than how it already looks right now.
Believe it or not, dude, most Christians are smart enough to realize, you know, not everything that the Bible doesn't mention is Satan. Are you going to tell me that cars are Satan? Because the Bible doesn't mention cars. You going to tell me space travel?
There are people that say that cars are Satan just because it's modern.
Are they going to tell me that their clothes are satanic because their clones are made in the modern day?
Oh, cotton. I forgot about I'm wearing a cotton shirt right now. Animals as Leaders, an instrumental metal band. But I bet you think that heavy metal that is instrumental is still satanic.
Or my friends from Gateway to Nowhere. They're not... Are you going to tell me that they're satanic? Just because they have growls in their song, or they have like a scream in their song, despite the fact that they're pretty much all very devout Christians. I can't even finish this. I can't even finish a sentence barely right now. I can barely finish a sentence. I'm so mad.
The Bible teaches to deny yourself and to put trust only in Jesus, the Savior of the world. So in other words, according to you, you should be a mope and have no self-confidence.
When it says deny yourself and put your trust only in Jesus, it's saying do not self-worship. It's saying put your trust only in Jesus. Basically, it's not saying that, you know, you're supposed to have no self-confidence. It's saying that you have to trust Jesus. It's saying that He is the only way into heaven. Through Him. No one gets to heaven but through Jesus. That's all it's saying.
I'm pretty sure Jesus would want you to be happy.
If God didn't want us to be happy, why would He have given us the ability to laugh?
I'm pretty sure God has a good sense of humor because we have stupid people like this we're commentating on right now.
That's with that episode of Family Guy. That's why God made Shrinky Dinks. It works. Look how tiny they are.
Satan controls the minds of the youth with corruption through these bands with satanic beliefs and doctrines.
Now, with bands that are actually satanic?
Which are a minority?
Yes. An extreme minority? Yes. However, you are clearly lumping every band into this. My question is this: how come I never see people say that country music, or I hear occasionally rap and pop, but it only ever seems to be rock and metal?
Well, people have talked about how Beyonce and the modern day pop artists are part of the Illuminati, and there are people that also talk about how Eminem has lyrics that are directly about the Illuminati and how the Illuminati is in the music industry.
I'm pretty convinced that the Illuminati doesn't exist.
We're not saying that secret societies do not exist. I'm pretty sure there are secret societies that exist that are more well hidden than the Illuminati that everybody is trending on believing.
I'm still pretty convinced, though, that they don't exist.
Oh, and the end of the video is subscribe for part 2. Exposes more bands and Illuminati symbolism in metal. We'll do a part 3 when we have this video up. Please.
Okay. Stout. Okay, when was this video posted? July 7th. Oh. I really don't know what to say, except I have to stretch because I've been sitting in this chair for about 60 some odd minutes now. Let's see, this video, 20 minutes, 20 plus 22 plus 16. Good God, this thing's gonna be like an hour and a half long. Alright, today is Monday, July 9th. This, good God, this probably won't be up for another week and a half. I could start editing this thing now and I would not be done till like 9 o'clock in the morning. Alright. I don't know what else to say about this except April and Wayne show. Why would you post this? How can somebody be this delusional? Do you know stuff? Because I don't.
I don't know either, man. I said what I had to say in this video, so I'm just going to end it right here. Stay tuned for more videos, you guys. Take care. See you later. And thank you for being a guest of the show once again, Random Xbox.
Oh, sorry, I died for a second. You're welcome. Peace.